attended an end-of-year gala. The theme was Arabian Nights. And I dressed up in an Aladdin costume and put makeup on. I shouldn't have done that. I should have known better, but I didn't. And I'm really sorry. En 2001, j'enseignais à Vancouver et dans le gala de fin d'année de l'école, sous un thème Mille et une nuits, je me suis déguisé en costume d'Aladin, compris avec du maquillage. J'aurais pas dû le faire, j'aurais dû savoir que j'aurais pas dû le faire. Je le regrette profondément.
Mais M. Trudeau, vous aviez 29 ans, vous n'avez pas 16 ans, vous n'avez pas 20 ans, vous aviez 29 ans. Comment vous pouvez expliquer ça? Donc à 29 ans, vous étiez comme ça en fait ça du premier ministre.
C'était une erreur. C'était quelque chose que j'aurais pas dû faire. J'aurais dû le savoir que j'aurais pas dû le faire et je le regrette profondément.
Vous excusez, voulez-vous vous excuser?
Oui, je m'excuse. Oui, je m'excuse profondément. Je me suis déçu moi-même et je suis vraiment désolé.
Do you think you should resign?
Would you have asked, called for them to step down?
I think there are people who've made mistakes in this life, and you make decisions based on what they actually do, what they did, and on a case-by-case basis. I think I deeply regret that I did that. I should have known better, but I didn't.
Do you think you should resign?
How do you feel about this coming out right now?
Obviously, I regret that I did it. It's not about timing. It's about having done something that I shouldn't have done, and I'm really sorry I did.
The only time you've done something like this, Mr. Trudeau, is that the only time in your life you've ever done something like that?
When I was in high school, I dressed up at a talent show and sang Dale. With makeup on. Au secondaire, je me suis déguisé avec du maquillage et j'ai chanté Dale.
Vous auriez demandé à un de vos adversaires de démissionner. Si quelqu'un au Parti conservateur avait fait ça, vous lui demanderiez aujourd'hui de démissionner.
Je regarderais leur comportement et je regarderais ce qu'ils ont fait. C'est sûr que moi je suis quelqu'un qui a œuvré toute ma vie pour contrer l'intolérance et la discrimination. J'aurais dû savoir, même à cet âge-là, que j'aurais pas dû faire ça. Mais je l'ai fait et je m'en excuse profondément.
Mr. Trudeau, what do you say to racialized Canadians who are likely going to be offended by seeing these photos and hearing about what you also did in high school?
I regret it deeply. I'm deeply sorry that I did that. I should have known better, but I didn't, and I did that, and I shouldn't have done that.
Why is this coming out now?
This is something that I shouldn't have done many years ago, and I recognize that I shouldn't have done it.
Will you resign? Will you resign? Many in the United States, when they've been discovered of these sorts of things, they are asked to resign. Have you given thought to resigning?
I take responsibility for my decision to do that. I shouldn't have done it. I should have known better. It was something that I didn't think was racist at the time, but now I recognize it was something racist to do, and I am deeply sorry.
And I wondered if you might place a call tonight to Jagmeet Singh, to Amarjeet Sohi, to Harjit Sajjan, if you have any words to say to some of your staff who may find this offensive.
I have made a number of calls to friends and colleagues tonight, and I will have many more colleagues, many more calls to make.
The Conservatives say you're not as advertised. How can you look at Canadians and tell them that's not true?
I have worked all my life to try and create opportunities for people to fight against racism and intolerance, and I can just stand here and say that I made a mistake when I was younger, and I wish I hadn't. I should have known better then, but I didn't, and I did it, and I am deeply sorry for it.
If one of your candidates had come out with one of these photos during the campaign, would an apology have been enough for you to allow them to stay?
We would make that decision on a case-by-case basis and look at all the factors involved, but I can't answer a hypothetical one.
Why should you be allowed to stay?
I'm going to be asking Canadians to forgive me for what I did. I shouldn't have done that. I take responsibility for it. It was a dumb thing to do. I'm disappointed in myself. I'm pissed off at myself for having done it. I wish I hadn't done it, but I did it. And I apologize for it.
Why does it know about this? For you to apologize for this? You've known that this happened a long time ago.
I've been I've been forthright when this has come forward that it is something that I regret deeply having done.
Your research team has been hammering the Conservatives on social media. We've been told privately there's an arsenal of things still to come for inappropriate social media behavior in the past. Does all of that how could you credibly do something like that now in the middle of a campaign after what we've all seen tonight?
I've taken responsibility for it, for having made a real mistake in the past. I stand here before Canadians, as I will throughout this campaign, and talk about the work we have to do to make a better country together, and I'm going to continue to stay focused on that and continue to work to fight intolerance and discrimination, even though obviously I made a mistake in the past.
When did your team know about this?
Mais comment vous pouviez ne pas savoir que c'était raciste quand vous aviez 30 ans?
Il y a 20 ans, j'ai pris une décision que j'aurais pas dû prendre et je le regrette profondément.
Comment vous avez pu prendre cette décision-là?
J'ai pris cette décision et j'en prends la responsabilité.
What does this mean for your campaign?
This means that I'm going to continue to work very hard to demonstrate to Canadians that I'm always going to try and take responsibility for my mistakes, but always work towards a better future for all Canadians. I have a big day in Winnipeg tomorrow where I'm going to be meeting with Canadians. We're going to continue getting out there across the country and talking about the kind of future we all need to roll up our sleeves and build.
Does this change the way you feel about other candidates who may have made mistakes on social media or other things in their past? Maybe you should have given them a little more latitude when you knew that this was something in your past?
I think this is something that, like everything, that you have to evaluate on a case-by-case basis. This is something that I take seriously and I take responsibility for. I'm pissed off at myself, obviously. I'm disappointed in myself, and I'm apologizing to Canadians.
What does taking responsibility mean? What is the consequence for you? For a lot of your candidates, this would be at least calls for resignation.
This would be calls for important conversations with all those candidates and real taking stock in the path forward. And I'm having conversations with my colleagues, with fellow candidates, and I'm going to be continuing to having conversations with Canadians about this and about many other things that we're hoping to work together on positively.
You said you've had conversations with individuals probably over the last hour. In talking to racialized members of your cabinet and your caucus, what have they said to you? Are they disappointed?
I've said to them what I'm saying here, how
What did they say to you?
I've said to them what I'm saying here, how I take responsibility for it, how I did something that I really shouldn't have done, and I'm disappointed and pissed off at myself. What they said, quite frankly, I am touched by having as thoughtful a team around me as I have.
When did your team know about this? When did they find out?
I've been talking to candidates I've been talking to my fellow candidaats tonight.
When did your team know?
Did you know about this before, that this was going to break before the event this afternoon?
I found out today that it was going to break tonight.
Mais Monsieur Trudeau, il y a des gens qui ont démissionné pour moins que ça. Vous avez montré la porte à des gens dans votre parti pour moins que ça. Vous avez demandé la porte à des gens des autres partis pour moins que ça. Comment vous pouvez expliquer ça?
On prend les évaluations basées sur au cas par cas et dans cette situation, en même temps que je reconnais ce que j'ai fait et que je regrette ce que j'ai fait, on a aussi agi en tant que gouvernement qui a lutté contre l'intolérance, a lutté contre le racisme. On a reconnu le travail qu'il faut faire avec les différentes communautés pour contrer cette intolérance. Et je considère que j'ai été et je suis un allié à ces communautés-là. Et c'est pour ça que je suis tellement déçu de moi-même. Et je sais qu'il va y avoir de la déception dans cette communauté-là. Et ça veut dire qu'on a encore du travail à faire.
Was
Now,
this,
since
was
you were
this
29
photo
that you
racist?
did this, when did you tell your team that you had done this? When did you let them know?
We've had conversations about this over the past while, but the reality is that we are going to continue to focus on fighting discrimination and racism as a
You didn't tell
person.
them about this until this.
I've talked about it recently, yes.
The woman in the photograph, you're touching her in a very familiar way, depending on your relationship with her. Who was she and what
She
was
was
that?
a close friend.
Was this photo racist in your opinion?
Yes. Yes, it was. I didn't consider it a racist action at the time, but now we know better, and this was something that was unacceptable, and yes, racist.
Within the last year, the governor of Virginia was found to have been pictures in blackface. Did you not think at that time, maybe I should say something to my friends and colleagues about something I did? We've seen other celebrities, Canadians, also confront this sort of behavior. Did you think at that time, geez, I'm a politician and I've done that, maybe I should say something?
this is part of the reflections we all have to have on how we judge the mistakes that we've made in the past, how we take responsibility for them, and mostly how we keep moving forward as a society, recognizing that we do need to do more to fight anti-black racism, systemic discrimination, unconscious bias, all these things that are present that I'm certainly not immune from. I think there's certainly a significant reflection that I've had over the past while on this, and if it leads other people to have reflections, then that's a good thing, but this is very much about me taking responsibility for an action I really shouldn't have
Did
taken.
you understand why it's racist to wear blackface? Could you explain that? Why it is racist to wear blackface?
I think it's well known that communities and people who live with intersectionalities and face discrimination, the likes of which I have never personally had to experience, is a significant thing that is very hurtful, and that's why I am so deeply disappointed in myself.
Why didn't you tell people sooner to fight?
This is a time where we're focused on moving forward as a country, and we're continuing to fight.
Why didn't you tell people sooner?
I'm talking about it now.
Mais pourquoi vous n'avez pas dit avant aux Canadiens? Vous le saviez, ça date pas d'hier. Vous en avez fait plus d'une fois. C'est pas la première fois qu'on parle de ce phénomène-là. Pourquoi pas l'avoir dit aux Canadiens?
Ça fait 10 ans que je suis en politique. Ça fait 10 ans que je travaille à tous les jours pour créer un meilleur avenir pour tout le monde. Ça continue d'être mon emphase et mon choix.
Ça fait 10 ans que vous avez épousé aussi.
Mais effectivement.
To be
How are
crystal,
you
how are you going
crystal-
to explain this to your children?
I'm going to have a conversation with them tomorrow morning before they go to school about taking responsibility for mistakes we make, about living up every day to try and be a better person, and recognizing that when you make mistakes, you have to take responsibility for it, you have to own up for it, and you have to promise to do better. That's what I expect of my kids. That's how I'm going to be raising them, and that's certainly the conversation that I'm going to be having with them tomorrow.
Why would you launch the attack you did on the Conservatives, knowing you had this in your background? This seems like a terrible mistake, knowing you've done something like this.
I think the fact is that I look forward to having conversations about how we move forward as a society, how we move forward as individuals. If everyone who is going to be standing for office needs to demonstrate that they've been perfect every step of their lives, there's going to be a shortage of people running for office. I think what is important is that yes, people get challenged on mistakes they've made in the past, that they recognize those mistakes, and they pledge to do better. That's what we expect of people.
Mr.
Andrew
Trudeau,
Scheer was
Mr.
going to do
Trudeau.
that with his candidates, and he had said so a few days ago. People should be forgiven, and it didn't seem to me like many liberals were ready to grant him the time of day for that.
I certainly accept that people can make choices about who they choose to run with and who they choose to have as candidates.
Mr. Trudeau, you've mentioned the incident in high school, and we just found out about the photo tonight. Do you want to tell Canadians about any other instances where you were concerned that you were racist or that you had blackface or brownface on?
I think it's been plenty. The fact of the matter is that I've always, and you'll know this, been more enthusiastic about costumes than is sometimes appropriate. But these are the situations that I regret deeply.
Is it the only two, or are there more?
These are the situations I regret deeply.
Mr. Trudeau, when you go to sleep tonight, or when you're sleeping in, or going to bed, and you're reflecting on this day, what are you going to be thinking?
I'm going to be thinking about how much harder I'm going to have to continue to work to demonstrate to Canadians that I am focused on building a better world with less discrimination, less intolerance, and less racism, and that this choice that I made many years ago, which was the wrong choice and one that I regret deeply, I am owning up to and going to focus on moving forward. Merci tout le monde. Bonsoir.